Hello guys, welcome to another edition here. So welcome to another segment, an episode of my ongoing jazz, what is that? Yeah, of my ongoing Jay113 online classes. This is what I am trying to do. This video is part of my 113 JavaScript online classes that I do. The thing about coding is you have to make sure that you always have drinking water, you have something to eat. You got to enjoy your coding. I have some mango ice cream right now. I don't know if we can get mango ice cream after the mango season is over. So I've been eating a lot of mangoes almost every day. Sometimes I just skip breakfast and go directly to eating mangoes. So make sure your energy levels are high when you're trying to learn coding. So coming back, enough of my personal nonsense. So coming back, what I'm trying to do here is today I'm going to move on to the next thing. This is going to be episode 1, segment 2. And today my plan is, what is that? My plan is, there you go. So my plan is HTML, my friend HTML will tag you, and I'll try to come up with these, what I believe are cool titles, but I'm sure they're pretty lame and stuff like that. So, but still it's okay, something different, even if it's lame, is okay. I mean, that's what I believe, So there you go. This is what I am trying to do today, right? This is what I'm trying to do. As always, you have my website, you have my Discord, and obviously I think somewhere there's a barcode somewhere. Just scan it or just go for it, right? So what are we talking about here? Now, the main thing is when you're talking about coding, when you start your journey, the first thing you're going to learn is HTML tags. Now, you might remember, right? You might, remember that last time in the previous video, hopefully you're watching these videos in a sequence according to the episode and segment. Now, you will remember that last time I explained about the interplay between HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And one of the things that I told you is that HTML is kind of like the skeleton, like if you're trying to do like a lion or something, then HTML is like the skeleton of your web page. All right, now this course is a crash course. What I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to give you like the bare basics. You need to build a very simple website which looks like this. So I'm only going to focus on a couple of tags. I'm not going to talk about, if you're going to take this lion as an example, I'm not going to talk to you about all the bones in the lion. I'm only going to focus on some specific parts of the bones, enough to get me started. So to understand that, what I want to do is I want to go here, and this is my code, right? Now this is my code, and if I open the HTML file and I see a lot of tags, I have about it's a very small project. I have some 134 lines of code. Okay, so this is, as you can see, everything you see in an HTML file is HTML. Okay, now the main thing that you want to remember about HTML is that they are essentially tags. You can think of tags like containers. There are different ways you can approach these things. You can think of them as a box in which you put things. You can think of them as containers in which you put things. You can think of them as, in the olden days, people used to have books. I still have books. I do. I have comic books, a lot of comic books. I used to have book holders in the olden days before the pandemic, but now I don't have it anymore. My books are like inside a safe. I don't read them that often, but I do like to have books, comic books again. So we used to have book holders. So you can think of HTML tags as any of these things: book holders, containers, bags, boxes, whatever you want. Now, the most common HTML tags that you'll see, that's what I'm going to do right now. The first thing is you'll usually have something called doc type HTML all the way in the top. It simply means the documentation type that you're using is HTML, because there are other types of MLs. ML stands for markup language. So there are other types of markup language, like for example XML, but we are not going to do that right now. And the next thing is you'll usually have to put something like this, Okay, again, a lot of these things you can just copy paste. You're not like trying to become like a computer science engineer. Some of these things you can just copy paste. It's okay even if you don't know what that means. The second thing is you'll also have some things called as meta. Again, these are required. Okay, so just copy paste them. I mean, I'm sure I know what these things do, why they do, and all that, but really doesn't matter. So just go ahead and directly copy paste. Even if you don't know what they are, it's not the end of the world. Okay, so just focus on the things that we want. So anyway, so the next thing you want to worry about is head. Head is an important tag because head is where you are going to be keeping a lot of important things, especially style sheets. Today I'm not going to talk about style sheets, but yes, head tag is where you're going to do things like title of the web page, linking, style sheets. We'll talk about that in the CSS episode, which I might record and upload in the future. Okay, head tag is where you put those things. Now the second thing you want to concern about yourself is the body tag. Now body tag is where we are going to put majority of our code, like paragraphs and image tags and all those things. So body tag is where it's going to go. Another thing we do in the body tag is that is also where we are going to put our mango ice cream, just the best. Another tag that another thing that is important we put in the body tag is the script tag, which I'm going to talk about when I start the JavaScript things. Okay, so that's what the main things are. You have the head tag and the body tag. One thing you'll notice is 99% of the time, if you have a tag, usually you will have a closing tag. Okay, so you'll have an opening tag like this, and then you'll have a closing tag which is like this. So the closing tag usually will have a slash. That is how you know that is a closing tag. And a lot of times you put things between the tags. So remember what I told you about book holders, right? You keep your books between the book holders. Similarly, whatever you're trying to do, you put them between the tags. Now there are some tags which don't have a closing tag, but they're like an exception. You'll run into them occasionally, but majority of tags, it's a good idea that you have an opening tag and a close tag. Now another tag that we use all the time, let's see what we're doing, the div tag. You will see the div tag a lot of times. So you see this tag called as div tag. Div tag is called, I think it's called a division. So that is usually used as a container of other things. So you put other things inside your div. So think of it like, how in the older days when we were in school, we didn't have the money to buy multiple notebooks. So what we used to do, our parents used to do, was they would buy us one notebook like 200 pages or something, and we had to divide that book, like 25 pages for math, 25 pages for science, 25 pages for history, because we didn't have the money to buy 6 books at the same time. So in a month, my parents only had money to buy one textbook. So I have to divide the single book into separate pages, and then make sure, because that book has to come for 25, for 1 month, because my parents don't have the money to buy another notebook for a month. So I have to make sure, so even if the teacher is giving extra notes, if the pages are getting over, I have to write small or just not write at all. Poverty is a real thing. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is, we used to divide the notebook. So the div tag is kind of like that. You divide stuff in your HTML tag. Another tag which I use a lot is obviously the h1 tag. So you have the tag called as h1, so h tags, you just call them. So you have h1, and then you have a h2. Okay, so these are all similar. They are useful for headlines and stuff like that. Okay, all right. Then let's see what other tags we use a lot. Div. Oh, there you go. I also use the button tag. Obviously, the button tag is for buttons. I think a lot of these things are self-explanatory, but I'm gonna type it anyway, because as it is, I'm showing you only the basics. I don't want to skip on that also. So you have the button tag, useful for putting buttons. Another tag that I use a lot is a BR tag. BR tag is useful for line breaks. A BR tag usually does not have a closing tag. You can just use it solo, no problem. Another common tag, obviously you want to show a lot of images in your code, so that's another tag that you'll be using in your project a lot. And obviously, of course, we can't just put headings all the time. So what we do is we also have the P tag. Now the P tag has a closing tag as well. P tag is for paragraph tags, so whenever you want some sentences and things like that, we use the P tag. So let me see what else we are trying to do here. Images, HR, P tag, buttons, divs, divs h1 figure. Don't worry about that, it's okay, I don't care about it, but if you want you can try it. You can use the figure tag for some extra special effects or something. I'm using it, so I'll put it on my slide. So there you go, figure tag, another tag that we use all the time. What else? I have div hr div paragraph tag and script tag. As I said, script tag is useful for putting scripts. I will talk more about this when I start the JavaScript segment. So there you go. All right, so let's do a quick rundown, guys. Let's do a quick rundown here. So what are the main thing? The main thing about HTML is I already mentioned to you that when you're talking about building a web app, so before you can build your lion, right? You're trying to build a line. Before you build your line, you have to start with a skeleton. Now, so when you're building a web app, you have to start with a skeleton, and that skeleton is given to you by HTML tags. Now, because this is a crash course, I plan to teach this to my students over a period of 2 to 3 days, 6 to 10 hours, not more than that, just the basics, right? So I'm just going to focus on the main things. The one thing is you will see something like this at the top of the page. It simply means what kind of documentation you're trying to do. You have to mention some extra thing. These are things you can just copy paste. It's okay even if you don't understand what these things are, just copy paste it. It's okay, it's not the end of the world if you don't know something. Sometimes ignoring is bliss. Next, some of the things which you actually use. The head tag is useful because this is where you're going to put the title of the web page. Very important. You want people to know what is the website they have opened. Second thing is this is where we are also going to put our CSS style sheets. We'll talk about that later. Next, we have the body tag, which is where we'll write majority, like 99% of the code will be in the body. Okay, one thing to remember about HTML is that you have an opening tag and a closing tag. Closing tag usually will have, no, always will have a slash, but what I'm trying to say is some tags may not have a closing tag. Now, what are the common tags we use? Especially in my crash course, we will be using the div tag, like a division, For headings, we use the h1, h2, h3, h4, that kind of tags. We need a button, right? You need to click on things. Yes, interactivity. For that, we use the button tag. Sometimes you want some space. There are other ways to do space, but I like to keep my life simple. This is a crash course after all. I like to use the BR tag for that. Obviously, I want to show some images, so I'm going to use the img tag. You'll notice that the BR tag and the image tag, you can use them without, image tag, does it have a closing tag? Hold on, let me just double check it. Yeah, no closing tag. You can use it directly. There we go. All right, next, paragraph tag. Whenever you want some sentences, you can use the P tag. For some reason in my project, I'm using the figure tag. It's more like a stylized way of showing something. For that, you can use the figure tag, but if you want to, you can just use a div or a paragraph for this, not a problem. Finally, we will eventually use the script tag, but that is something I'll discuss in detail when I record and upload my JavaScript session, right? So there you go, folks. This is the main HTML tags we are going to be using, okay? And that's the end of this video. I'll see you next time. Oh, hold on. I want to make it like this. So there you go. That's the end of the video, and I will see you next time. Thanks.